Hey guys, so today I'm here to do a book review. I feel like I am totally dishing out all these reviews and I'm so pumped with how Mate, what's happening? Oh, I have a cat to say hello. as you are the one that was annoying and wanted to come into the video and now your foot is clawing me. Say hello. Say hello. Do you see how much this mate hates me? Like, I just give him a hug and he wants to get away from me. And he's clawing. Stop it. Stop it. You know, every other cat I see on people's videos, they're so lovely and calm and nice. And then this one. Anyway, I'm here for a book review and that's what we're here for. Did he get me? I know I'm just covered in fur. God. I'm here to review a book. I don't actually have a physical copy because I listened to this on audio, and that was What I Like About You by Marissa Cantor. So I'll put the cover here and I'm here to talk about this book because I need to. I wasn't even planning on filming a book review for this book, but it frustrated me so much and I was so excited for it that I had to listen to it on audio straight away. But I have so many things I need to talk about with this book, like some points to come across, and I'm sure no one is going to watch this because I don't know who's read this book. Like, it's a relatively new book and I don't know how many people are actually wanting to read this book, and I would say don't read it because it's not great, but sometimes I just have to do a book review about a book that I don't like because I have feelings and I want to get the emotion out. And I wanted to film this review straight after I read the book, but then I had to work, but now I have time and I'm excited to talk about this book. And there is going to be spoilers in this book review because I need to talk about all the things about this book that annoyed me, but some of the things that were kind of alright. But let's get into it. So this book was totally an ode to like book culture. Hallie, our main character, is a book blogger. She has her own book blog and she does Instagram and she does book Twitter. Like, she knows all the lingos about the book things. Like, this is a book about the book things and we are the people that read the books to talk about the book things. Like, it was a full circle book here and it was beautiful. And Hallie's blog is really interesting because she makes cupcakes and then the icing on the cupcakes normally forms a book cover. So she does like really cool things with that, and she's got like a really big following, and she does a lot of the cover reveals for like popular books and series, and she has like a really cool thing going on. And she also blogs under the name of Kels for her One True Pastry blog, and she doesn't have a face anywhere on any of her like Instagrams or Twitters or her blog at all, and she remains quite anonymous even though she's a big part of the book community. And Hallie's grandmother was also this really famous editor, and Hallie really didn't want that to taint her blog because she wanted to get famous on her own merits, so she didn't want to kind of be associated with the Levitt editor family name. But basically she just does what she loves, which is reading and talking about reading, and she's become famous from it. There is one thing though in this whole scenario situation with the blogging that really pissed me off. She says it's weird that adults are book bloggers who read like YA books, like it's not their like age range and all this crap, and it's only for like 16-year-old girls to read YA books and blog about it. But seriously, I'm 22, I'm an adult, I read YA books and I talk about it, and a lot of the big booktubers that I follow are in their like early to late 20s and they read YA books and blog about it. Like, it is not a bad thing, and I've only known adults to talk about YA books. Like, I don't see that many younger book bloggers, and now that I'm 22 I don't really like watch 16-year-olds because I can't really relate because they're experiencing such new stuff in their lives that now that I'm older I'm kind of like, I'm just gonna read the books and kind of have my own thing going on here. But her being all like, oh, it's so weird and like I'm the only teen voice in the world and blah blah blah, I'm so important because I'm 17 and my whole life is gonna end, and I'm like, no, like, everyone is allowed to read what they want to read and they can blog about what they want to blog. But I just felt very old when they kept bringing this point up in the book where it's just like, there is nothing wrong with it. I really wanted to get all the bookish talk out of the way, but now for the actual plot of the story. Hallie and her brother Oliver, they have moved to Middleton to live with their grandpa while their parents are going to do a documentary in Israel for a year, and they have spent most of their lives moving to different schools and going to different areas while their parents do the documentaries, and they're quite famous for their documentaries, and they haven't won Oscars yet, but they're like on that level, you know. So this is the first time that they're going to spend a whole year somewhere, and it's Hallie's senior year, and Ollie's happy to be there for like, I think he's in his like freshman year. And what's also really sad is her grandmother did pass away 6 months previous, and it's been really hard on their gramps. And this is something I just want to put out there, is they have gramps and grams. So like, I got very confused with the audiobook because it was like, they sound so similar, like gramps, grams, gramps, 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 gramps. Like, it just blurred and I had no idea who they were talking about sometimes, because she'd be like, oh yeah, my gramps, and I'm like, what's happening? Like, I can hear obviously fine, but just that slight difference was just complicated. But their grandpa is having a very hard time with it because obviously his wife's just died 6 months ago. But he has gone totally like into denial basically, and he's ripped out everything in the house that reminded him of her. And Hallie's all upset because she wanted all of her shit to use and she can't use it. So it's a very sad like home life for them at the moment. And that's basically where the book starts out, that we're all depressed. But then she's like at the library on the first day and she bumps into Nash, who is her online best friend. And like, what are the odds of all the places in America? He lives in Middleton as well, and she just assumed he was like somewhere around the area but not in the small town of Middleton. So she is very shocked to learn that the guy that she's been talking to for like the past 4 years is right in front of her, and she just pretends like she doesn't know who he is. So this storyline pisses me off sometimes because some books do it really well, like Eliza and the Monsters, but other books, like this one, do it really, really shit. Like, if I was to suddenly meet my online bestie, I would know for one who she is because that is my girl Sash Reads, and you should definitely follow her because I love her. If I was to suddenly meet her, I know what she looks like and I know who she is, and I'm pretty sure if I just bumped into her, I'm gonna be like, hey, what's up? It's me, Abby. I'm not gonna just be like, I don't know who you are. Like, just doesn't make sense in my brain that this is a person that you know and you're best friends with, but you're gonna pretend that you don't know them. And what makes this even better is Hallie lies again and again and again for months on end because she's all weird about the fact that I'm Kels and I'm Hallie and it's 2 different people when it's literally the same person. But she's so like, oh, he's not gonna like me because I'm so awkward. And it shits me because like, you're the same person. You, Hallie, Kels, the same person. There is no difference. You're always the person that does both things. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And then she says she's scared, and then next minute she keeps making up more excuses of like, oh, I'm so awkward, or oh mama, and she's always like, I'm gonna tell him, I'm eventually gonna tell him, and she never tells him. Like, it shits me. And like, the whole friendship that Nash and Hallie have is a complete lie, and then they do get into a romantic relationship, and it's again a complete lie because they're friends for months, and then they date for more months, and I'm like, how can you just live your life having this big lie and having to always justify it in your brain that you're doing the right thing when you are actually such a big asshole? And it wasn't just Hallie not saying anything. Like, Nash would repeatedly bring up Kels to her and talk to her about it, and she'd be like, oh yeah, that sucks, mate. Like, I don't know why she's not talking to you when it's clearly her not talking to him. And then also, when he messages Kels, he talks about Hallie, and she's like, oh, like, you're really delivering the lie here when you were both sides of this friendship and this love triangle not talking to him. Like, it just was so irritating, and every time I would listen to this in the car I got more frustrated because just tell him. Like, you still could have had a really good book and a plot if you just told him, you know? And what shitted me is she was jealous of herself. So when she found out that Nash was in love with Kels, she's like, oh, he would never love me. Like, bitch, it's you. It's you. And the whole idea of having the love triangle between 2 people intrigued me so much before I started this book, but it sucked. It sucked. It was just some weird ass crazy thing that she swept them all up in, and really she broke him. Like, she literally broke him. And the fact that she was so rude to Nash in the first couple of months when he was trying to be friends with her because she's like, oh, I can't like get close to him because he's gonna know about me. And I'm like, mate, that's the whole point. You want him to know who you are, even though she doesn't, but she does. And then like how she had such an awesome friends group with his whole crew, and she knew Molly and Autumn and Sawyer, and she had solid friends, and she hasn't had solid friends in real life for like her whole life because she moved so much, and she wants to jeopardize that because she's just weird. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, and I just can't even, like, I just can't believe the fact that they start dating and she still doesn't tell him. And in the end of the book, it's not actually her telling him. He finds out because they end up being at the same place at the same time at a bookish event, and he finds out who she is. So later when they're talking and she's like, I was always going to tell you, Nash. I'm like, that's bullshit. Because you had nearly a year to tell him and you didn't, and then because you were found out, you're like, oh, I'm like not the bad guy here. I'm like, you definitely are. And I have to say, I loved Nash so much. He was a great character, and he was really complex, and he was funny, and he was just like a really great guy, and he's totally the type of love interest you want. But he deserves so much better than Hallie. He is so much better than Hallie, and that relationship is just shitty. Like, it just doesn't do him any good, and I just hate that. But definitely something that wasn't his best move though was using the excuse of his dead brother to go see Kels and lie about it. So he did one lie, and his lie was pretty bad though. Like, yes, we know that Hallie and Kels are the same person, but he doesn't know. So he's dating someone, but he still lies about it to his girlfriend to go see someone else because he's still in love with that other person, even though they're the same person. Like, I know it's a weird concept here, but really, he did a bad thing because it was not like he was cheating, but that obviously means that he still had hope that he would end up with Kels, even though he does end up with Kels because it's Hallie and it's confusing, but that wasn't his best moment. But what was really annoying is he made that one mistake and Hallie's all like, well, you were gonna go see another girl, and he's like, bitch, it was you. And it's like, you cannot justify what you did. Like, my mistake is not as big as your mistake. And I was so happy that he did comment on that, because I'm like, yeah, like, what you did was bad, but she spent a lot more time lying and being worse. I'm just so annoyed though that they ended up together at the end though, because he deserves so much better. Like, honestly, I don't know how we got past the lying and all the crap, because at the end he's like, I can't live without you, I fell in love with you twice, and it's just like, blah. So stupid. So effing stupid. And just saying one more thing I want to talk about in this review, because the main thing I wanted to talk about is the stupid lying sequence, and clearly I've talked about it a lot, but her relationship with her brother Ollie, at the start of the book she describes the fact that they're so close and they're so in sync and they're so together, but then everything becomes about her. Like, she doesn't care about her brother's problems, she doesn't care what he's going through, all she wants is to talk about her and her problems, and then whenever he questions her on what she's doing, she acts like a total bitch to him. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Your brother is always there for you and he cares about you so much, yet you treat him like a piece of shit. So I hated the fact that everyone around her she lies to and she pleases a total bitch too. This is why I haven't even commented on Hallie as a person though, because she irritates me so much, and she's always like, oh, it's so awkward, and then she does her like booktube panel, and then she's like, oh, I was trying to be so like hip and cool, and I'm like, mate, you probably were like the suckiest thing there, and I don't even know why they picked you, because you suck. So I did end up giving this book 3 stars, because there was parts that I did really appreciate with this book, and I always love books that are about books. Like, that is always a fun thing, but the big things in this book really shitted me. It really pissed me off, and there were so many moments where I wanted to fling the book across the room, but I couldn't because I was driving a car, so that could have gone really badly. I probably equal parts loved it and hated it, and that's why it got such an average rating, but like, I don't even know if I'd recommend it. And I always say this at the end of my spoiler reviews, but like, if you watch this, you probably should have read the book by now, but like, I don't think I would want to recommend this to people because I just didn't like it. But anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this review, and I don't really know who's gonna watch this though, because in my like online book community friendships here, I don't really know anyone who's actually read this book yet, or if they're going to, but I just needed to talk about this. Like, I feel like much more cleansed about it now that I've managed to have a bitch about it. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!